Hi, everybody. Today, listeners, we have a subject that comes close to home for me. In April 2024, I was admitted to St. Mary's Hospital in West Palm Beach for respiratory failure. And my 2 nights there, I had a wonderful nurse named IEAN. Hi, IEAN. He's here. We'll have him talk in a minute, and I'll introduce him soon. The nurses' aides, or CNNs, or whatever they're called now, they absolutely did nothing for me. They didn't change my sheets. They didn't bring me clean robes, nothing, water. Everything I got from the nurses, including Ian. So I don't know what that's about, but I am going to write a letter to the hospital because I was really upset about those things. Meanwhile, my buddy Ian here, he couldn't do enough for me. And he was on the night shift and he was through me most of the night. He was in my room talking to me because I was unable to sleep. And today I heard that he was fired without cause because Florida is an at-will employment state and it allows employers to fire employees without cause. I never heard of this. So Ian, I'm going to let you give us the details. Do you want to tell our listeners a little bit about it? About what happened to you?
Okay, I just want to say good afternoon to all the listeners, all the viewers. As Mimi would have said, my name is IEAN Thomas. I'm a registered nurse, and I actually work at Good Samaritan, which is a sister hospital to St. Mary's Medical Center. So everything happened.
I forgot which hospital I was in. I've been in every one in Palm Beach County. So it was good, Sam. All right.
Yes, so
Continue.
yes, but I probably it's because of our conversation also. So what many people don't know, I also work at St. Mary's Medical Center. That was my first hospital that I actually started to work. Just to give a little history, I came to the US in 2006, and coming from Jamaica, my background was actually in agriculture. So I was an agriculturalist back there, and I used to work with a sugar company by the name of Appleton Estate. Everybody would have known that if you have visited Jamaica by any chance. Appleton Estate is well known for the rum, the Appleton Special that they produce there. So I was actually involved in that process, managing a whole section of the estate there. So when and so I work in the agricultural sector in Jamaica, and I work also in the food processing sector, work with a company called Grace Kennedy. And so I then transitioned to the US because my wife was living here. She had migrated, and she's actually also a nurse. So just to tell you, I was not, looking to become a nurse at all. I was thinking, everything would have been good. I'll just continue in the profession in terms of agriculture. But then when I came into America, I realized that things was not as I thought it would have been. So my wife at that time would have decided to send me back to nursing school, or send me to nursing school. So she thought that would have been a very good profession for me. But coming from Jamaica and our culture and just the dynamics when you look at nursing in Jamaica, it's basically looked up to like a female job. For you to wear a scrub, you'll have to be the doctor down there.
Yes.
So, even here we have seen, that men tend to shy away from the profession. However, lately we have seen more men getting into the profession, which is a very good thing for the medicine and a whole good for the medical field. We possess some extra strength, extra muscle strength that we could help out there.
Yes.
So very often, in this profession, I've been called several times to help out. So Mimi, just to tell you, my first job here was actually security because my wife wanted me to go to nursing school. I said, baby, guess what? I think I'm the man in the house and I at least should be earning something. And I didn't see myself in nursing. So
But you wouldn't be earning any money. You'd be going to school. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I didn't see that for me at the time.
Yeah.
So then I went out and I actually got a job in security. So here comes my first job. And I have to mention that the gentleman, the director of security at St. Mary's Medical Center, Mr. Rob Robertson, you know, he basically gave me a supervisor position there at St. Mary's.
Wonderful.
So what really happened, sometimes we don't know that, there is just that heavenly cover or that, somebody is out there looking out for you. You never see. So with him giving me that job, little did I know that that would have led to me becoming a nurse. I I actually started there, and Mimi, I'm gonna take you back to my first nursing intervention introduction without actually having a license. Is that okay?
I don't go ahead. Yeah.
So, so what happened? As you know, St. Mary's Medical Center is a trauma center. It's a place where everything happened. So I was there, and so trauma came in one night, and the ER, I think it was a Sunday night, so there was not a full staff on board, but we had 7 gunshot wounds showing up in the trauma room. Yeah, that was more than enough, more than we could really handle. And for security, we had to be present for those instances. So I ran to the trauma room just to find out as I showed up. There's a nurse asking, "Security, can you write?" I'm like, "Security, can you write?" You probably want to ask question, what they're gonna have security write? You know, and this nurse said to me, she's gonna be asking the questions, and whatever the answer is, I should write it on the sheet of paper that she gave me. So,
Super help.
and that's because, yeah, because so much stuff was happening. People were doing chest compression. Someone was stopped. They were stopping bleeding. There was a little baby involved. There was just so much. And with that, she gave me the sheet. I was so nervous, but I start writing, and it was basic question: how old are you? Any allergies? Any past medical history? Some basic stuff. And I realized that okay, I could do this. So I just keep going. So I did that on like 2 patients. So then I walked out of the ER after everything. And just to know, about 2 days later, the same nurse saw me and said, I think you should become a nurse, because everything you wrote on that sheet, I could actually transfer it to the computer. And it's like I was seeing everything happening at the moment. And, that was the first little insight into nursing. Remember, my wife would have told me to do nursing. So with that
The
happening, I'm like,
universe wanted you to be a nurse. Your wife and the universe. So you became a
yes,
nurse.
and
Right.
yes. So, and I got to tell you one more story that led to that. So another story is just doing security again, and a director of a particular department was coming in, and they were late. But again, as I said, security have to show for every instance. So there's another trauma coming in. Somehow I went out. I was in the middle of the road, holding up my 2 hands, stopping this director. She's coming in, and she was late. And would you behold, this director would have been a director, because I've asked her later, how did she, learn about me? Because, I went to Jamaica, I heard there was someone asking for me. And I'm like, who is this person asking for me? I didn't know much people in the hospital as yet. And so, this director, I came back and I found her, and she said, I don't know much about you, but I have a job in my department. And I don't know if you'll be interested. I don't know if you're qualified. This should never have happened, and we know that. But things do happen.
You do.
And she actually she told me about the job, which was clerical in radiology. So when she had me do the paperwork and everything, she actually employed me. So about a year later, I asked her, how did this come about? And she said, one day there was a code in the hospital, because there's certain codes that they call in the hospital. So like a code ping, they were taking a baby, but it was like a mock code. And she said she was next to me and she overheard the way I handled the situation and everything. And then now come back to the next situation where we, had again, where I stopped her in the middle of the road. She said she was so mad because she was already late. And here's this tall boy putting up his hands.
Follow protocol, right? That was the
That's
protocol.
yes, and that's it. She said no, she was there and she watched everything, because with that we're giving free passage for the healthcare team going up to get the patient and also to come across. So we just have to stop once the light comes on. So she said as she watched, and then she went to her office now, and she said she was just sitting back, and then she said, hold it. Isn't that the same guy who was running that code when they were trying to steal a baby? Hold it. When we are looking to employ somebody, aren't these the qualities we look for? Because she said he was just doing his job. And that's how she really came and found me.
It's wonderful. Yeah, it's wonderful. Let me just tell them that when I was in, you were great. We spent a lot of time together. We told stories, we joked around, and you were so friendly and so nice, and you took very good care of me. So I want to jump ahead now to I did not know that Florida was a state that could fire you at no reason. I never heard of that. Like, so what happened? Do they call you in, or?
All right, this is the funniest thing that happened. So the worker that I am, or the nurse that I am, I really you have me, as your nurse. I basically, when I go to work, I ask the Lord to take my hand, take my feet, lead me wherever you lead me. There I go. So when I show up at a patient bedside, it's not just that I'm there. I've been ordained to be by your bedside. So, and then once I walk into that room, the first person I see is my mother, then I see my father, and then I see myself laying in that bed. And with all of that, I treat you just the way I would want somebody to treat my mother or to treat me, as a patient. And that's how I really start my night every single day, over and over again. That's just the way, and every patient is treated the same. So I really give it all to my patient. So now, this is the funny thing that happened. So I am a nurse that work, surprisingly, most weeks I work 6 days. How do I do it? I do. And all the other nurses on my workplace, they will tell you I am pretty hardworking when it comes on to giving it my all, and I've been doing 6 days for probably the past 2 years, on and off, probably 5 or 6, because if I then take my vacation because I have my family, to spend time with. I really, also do the family time by taking time off. But, to take care of a wife, 3 kids, mother, father, I'm from Jamaica, so I have a family back there. I have a home here, so I have to do what I have to do. But what I do, I make sure I take care of my body too, so I can do what I do.
Yeah.
So basically I worked 2 years in one. So what happened last year, my son got sick, not really sick, but there was some issues going on that was more physical. Appendix on the wrong side, intestine twisted, there was a lot of things that was going on with him. Yeah, a lot of GI stuff. He was not constantly vomiting and so forth. We didn't find out this until he's like 2 years old. And yep, so with that, he went down to Jamaica, down there, and they found out what was happening after going into the hospital and so forth. I could not get him back into the US because it posed a challenge. They say the nature of the illness or the situation, they would not allow him to fly. I tried everything. I even went to St. Mary's because I worked there for a few years. As I told you, I came in from 2007 to about 2018. I worked at St. Mary's. So what happened, I actually know that they have a very good pediatric unit. I went there. I even tried to set up airlift out of Jamaica, but they would not have him here because they said the risk is too great. And if we try to take him out the hospital, then that's that form of negligence. So with that said, I had to go to Jamaica to be there with my wife, who have 2 other kids with her there. And, so when so I take the time off to go there. So when I went down there, luckily, and I'm happy that, I end up the journey, actually have me becoming a nurse. Now I really realize why, the Lord used me in such a way to become a nurse. It was to save my own son. So when I went down there, because I know the nursing process, what was happening there, he did the surgery, but then, if I didn't catch a certain mismanagement, then he could have been dead. But so what happened? They had to return him into surgery. But by this time, I should be coming back to the US. So, I called my manager and I told her the situation, what was happening with my son. And he said, Ian, you know what? We're okay here. Do whatever you have to do. Stay with your son. We'll take care of everything on this side. Just make sure your son is okay.
Yeah.
So with all that done, I would have come back to the US. I went back to work. Everything was going okay. I didn't know there was any problem and so forth. So it was not until later, we have a new manager, a new director that came in. So in May, I was called in and I was given suspension because I had a call out in April. So what they did, they add up all the time I was in Jamaica as call out instead of documented that I had called and they had given me approval. So
Yeah,
they
there
had me
was a
down as a
family
call out.
emergency. Exactly.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So with that, if somebody had told me you could do FMLA or something else, when I called back, then that would have been okay. But I was given the okay, like it was all good.
You
And
had
that was,
permission. You did tell them, yes. Yeah, and
and
let
it's
me
coming
just
from
tell
a,
people that's listening that I looked it up and for Florida, and it says taking leave due to bereavement, sickness, disability, or serious medical condition of a family member, okay, can be non-consecutive, and the employer has, no reason to punish you for that. That's law. That they're supposed to let you go if there's an emergency in your family like that. Mr.
yeah.
Vice.
So,
So you were
yeah, so there
what
was
you're
that.
supposed to do. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes. So I know when they actually called me in now, and now they called me in, I'm telling you, in May to write me up for something that happened in April. That's now that there was a call out, and I have too many calls out. And knowing that whenever I do call, if I have to, I'll definitely give them heads up way ahead. So I have to be sick. I don't normally call out at all. So everything was surrounding my son in Jamaica between October and about February, being in and out the hospital. He spent like over a month in the hospital. So, and I tell you, the mother is there and she has two other kids to care for. He's not in St. Elizabeth where we stay, that city. My son is in Kingston, Bustamante Hospital, Children's Hospital. That's the highest level.
He's still in the
That is the
hospital.
no, he's
He's
out. He's out now.
out. Oh, good. He's doing good.
So just to
He's
be
doing good
surprised.
now.
No,
Okay.
he's doing perfectly well.
Good, good.
So what happened? Yes. So what happened when they called me in now to give me a suspension? So these number would have already been accumulated already then, but they called me to suspend me that I had too much, and I'm now on final warning. And I'm like, this is not fair. Nobody told me, what was going on here. That those time off was not written up as being approved or something because I wasn't in the country. I was in Jamaica.
Medical
And
emergency. Mm-hmm.
so what happened on the 8th? This is the final one. So they told me I'm on a final warning. So on the 8th, I have gone to the doctor about the 6th, and I was given prescription for antibiotic. So with that, the Saturday, just before my leave, I was gonna go back to Jamaica on the Sunday. So I was no sick. So I called and I told him I'm not feeling well, whatever is going on with me, nausea, vomiting, so forth. And what I did, I called my manager. My manager said, go ahead and call the director and let them know. So I told him with that warning that I have, but if I'm sick, I don't want to go and cause anything on the rest of nurses or anything.
Of
So
course.
I called the director.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I called the director myself. Personally, I called the director and I was given approval by the director to say, okay, stay home, Ian. You're
Sick.
sick. So
Mm-hmm.
guess what? I went to Jamaica and I'm coming back now for my work starting Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Just to come back, I went to the doctor to get a note to know that I was there. So I went to the doctor. The doctor gave me a note and told, say I was on medication. I was treated and given medication. If any other question, they could call them. So I had that note with me. Just coming from the doctor's office, I got a call from the director. He said I should meet her in HR. I'm like, what's going on here? Anyway, I went to HR just to learn that, I've been terminated because based on their policy. And I'm like, I sit there, I'm like, this is kind of strange. I said, you are the one who I spoke with. You told me I could take the sick day. I said I could, if I knew this was gonna be the end result, I will go into work sick as I am, I would have to go in there, But
They have to
this is what
send
happened.
home.
That's it. If I knew, because she is the one who gave me that permission. She's the director. I don't need anything else, and I'm sick. And so I was just terminated just like that. And I'm like, this is like the craziest thing. I work harder than any other nurses there, basically 2 years in one. So it's not like I'm not helping the hospital. I help the hospital on an every week basis. And, they never look at me to even say, Ian. So I said that was totally inhumane, what they did, knowing that I have 3 kids to take care of and a wife plus family. That was probably one of
You
the
got
worst things
no
that have ever happened.
advance. And there wasn't an advance notice. It was like right there, like right on the spot, you're fired.
Yes.
And it's for taking
Yep.
off sick time and family crisis time, which you had asked for and been given, right? So
Yes.
what do you think? Do you think there's a different reason why they fired you? Or
Well, I personally believe that I was targeted, and likewise, I had other teammates that within the last month that got fired. At least I could name at least 3 teammates that got fired, and we didn't even know the fullness of it. We just know, got fired or they had to just walk out based on this director coming in. At the end of the day, I think I was definitely targeted, but who to listen to me, who to listen my side of the story is like they're not answering to anybody.
So why do you think they fired you, though? I know you keep saying targeted, but why? Because they want to
Right.
hire people for less money? Were you making too much money? And they wanted to get
one of them, I think I was making too much money, and also for other teammate, I know that was probably the same case. They actually terminated all of us who were working those extra shifts. All of us, we're no longer there. Put it that way. Plus, there was another situation where, I am a patient advocate. So I challenge a certain practice that they have there. And I had challenged it probably 2 days before I got written up the first time. So this director actually went back to my record to write me up. And I really think it's based on one of the policies that they have in the hospital that I don't think suit the patient pretty well.
What's that policy? Can you tell me?
Well, it's probably, I don't want to discuss too much, but they have policies that probably surrounds like fall policies, practices,
okay.
the way we go, and
How they handle fall risk, people that are fall
yeah,
risk.
yeah, people that are fall risk. So there's
you
things that
disagreed with the way they did it, and you ticked somebody off.
Yeah, you cannot speak up.
Are you going to file a complaint with Equal Opportunity Commission or any of the things that are out there that you can like?
Really and truly, I have not looked into all the things that is out there that would support me based on the fact that it's like at will state that they could fire me at any given minute without even me doing anything. They could just, and that kind of, which I don't think, that should have been the case. If there's something that I am not aware of and anybody knows, then and I'm willing to do something.
I know how great a nurse you are, so I can vouch for you for that. Now, the Florida Commission on Human Relations is for state-specific complaints like yours, and they handle issues like that: retaliation, discrimination, harassment. And also, I've been researching, you should actually seek legal advice, because there are lawyers that do nothing but this, because this happens more than you know. Not just medical profession, but people getting fired for absolutely no reason. And even though that Florida has that law, you can still contest it. So later, if you want some numbers or addresses for these agencies, I'd be glad to help you with that.
Definitely, because I think it was injustice that was done to me and even to the patient and the community that I serve. And the nurse that I am. So they could not fire me based on my nursing practice. They couldn't fire me on the way I talk to a patient. They could not
No,
fire me on the approach that I use or anything. So this was the only way that they could have gotten rid of me.
listen, I'm a witness, and I am not kidding about writing a letter, because I'm going to write a letter. I heard you and I observed you, not only being a nurse, but problem solving for other nurses, coming in and breaking up an argument. I heard you very calmly calm one of the staff down. Really, you were like a supervisor on that floor. I know, I was there. I was around you for 2 days, so I know. And I'm going to write a letter about this, complaining. And I'm not only going to send it to them, I'm going to send it to quite a few outlets, because we need good nurses and they have an agenda, and it could be budget related. They could have been told, we have to get rid of some of our nurses because of the budget. And who are they picking? They're picking the ones that are getting paid the most because you're there long enough. You're there a couple
I
years,
think
right?
that I think that was a part of it, especially how much I earned to this point. And I think I've earned more than a nurse would have actually earned within a year already. And
Mm.
I know, so that is a part of it too. And I could almost say, but then as I said, once I actually challenged in terms of the process and the policies, then I think that was where everything went overboard, because within 2 days I was written up by going back. It's not like I called out then. They went back to my record.
You have to
So
fight
that's
this. Yeah, you have to fight this, because I witnessed it, and you are a fabulous nurse. And I'm not kidding, I have a lot of health problems, which you saw my records. And I'm not kidding when I say I've been in every hospital, Palm Beach County. So for me, I know good and I know not so good. And I saw the system there, and it wasn't good as far as how they were handling the staff
uh,
and their duties and who was
there's
supposed
a
to
lot
do
of things.
what.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of things that's wrong, Mimi. And you know the funniest thing, if you talk to any of my coworker, from the charge nurse to the nurse that just came on that I train, or if everyone, they were so shocked. They cannot believe it today. They're like,
I
Ian, you
love
work
you
more
there.
than
I love you. I
yeah, they're like, you
witnessed it.
work more than anybody. You help with everything. The hospital. I think I'm one of the IV specialists. I'll do help
You were
chores.
calm, you were friendly, you made jokes, you got, and I'm talking about the staff now. You got staff members to laugh when they were upset about things. I observed it all with my ears. I mean, I'm in the room. I kept my door open and I have good hearing, and I heard it all. And I was very, very impressed. So this is shocking, and I did not know about this law that Florida had. So they didn't even have to tell you that it was because you took too much time off. The law says they could just say
Yeah,
you're fired, no reason.
yes. And the funny thing is, even when I was in HR, and I said I just came off the road with to go to the doctor to get my letter. I handed to the HR personnel. She looked at it, and it's clearly read I was seen at the doctor. I was given medication, and if anything else you could call. She just looked at it and said, this say nothing. How can you say that say nothing if somebody was treated, medicated? It said it says a lot.
Yeah, see a doctor, you were sick. And not only that, you're supposed to, I am assuming you're allowed to have so many sick days a year. I mean,
You know,
is that
I never
weird?
take sick days for myself, Mimi. I
I
never take
know.
a sick day for me.
Yeah,
Never.
I know.
I never, you know,
Yeah.
and it's just sad the way that, you're in a
It's
hospital that we know what happened to patients, what they go through, and one of your own, you're not there to support us. Mentally, that's challenging for me to have a child that is almost dying. You should have at least come on board to say, hey, Ian, how is it going? How is your family?
supporting the
That was,
attitudes. I am so upset about this because I like in within 48 hours, I think we formed such a bond. It was almost spiritual. It was just like you act in the room and there's just something. And we talked a lot about things. And I can't believe it. But the way the world is now, that's what they're doing. They don't care about the person. They care about the sheet with the money on it. How much are we making? How much are we spending? You know?
And that's the sad thing about this healthcare, Mimi. It's taken a lot away from patient care in terms of what they have as policy, what we have to do in the computer. You realize nurses hardly get time to spend a minute with the patient. For me, it's just that I structure my nights in such a way that I can actually spend time with my patient. And I rather be there 15, 20 minutes later documenting rather than not talking to my patient, finding out what is
Exactly.
really going on with them.
Exactly. And
Because
cheering me up. And I mean, you were wonderful. And there's a board, people that have been in the hospital, there's a board, and they say, this is your nurse's name, this is your, do they call it a CNN? That's the nurse's aide,
yeah,
right?
the PCT, yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's it. Okay. Nick, I did not see the people that were supposed to be bringing me water or asking me if I needed anything. You did. You brought me water. You asked me if I needed things, and that's not your job. That's their job. Where were
You
they?
know what? And that's a funny thing, Mimi. Even those CNAs, they love to work with me now because they know that if they sometimes they get busy and so forth.
And you're
So
going to do
if I
part of their
walk,
job.
that's it. So the first
I
thing you
know.
notice before I even get my assignment, I walk into each of my patient room and I ask them if everything is okay. So before that nurse goes off, I would know what this patient need, what they didn't get. So when I walk into a patient room, I basically start after
Yeah.
paying attention to my patient. I look around in the room and I see what is needed, and I'm gonna ask you the question, what it is I can help with. And if it's water, I'm getting it. If it's
I think
toothpaste,
you
I'm
got
getting
me
it.
a
It doesn't
gown
matter.
too. I think you got me a new gown. And I will say every nurse I had there was a plus. I had a problem with the aides that just weren't there. They were not there. And luckily I had good nurses, but I was there 2 days with the same gown, with the same sheets. And I was coughing a little bit and I wet the bed, you know, and I called, my nurse came in with medication. I told her, I said, I need some things here. So then they came in and the woman just threw the sheets on the bed. She didn't strip the bed and make the bed. She just threw the sheets on the bed. So I stripped and made my own bed. That's not right. You know. Anyway, I think this is going to be my cause right now do you want to go back to the same place? Do you want to work there again?
Really, really and truly, for me, it's my patient. Wherever a patient is, you'll find me. And it's never about the administration or anything, because really, I'm the patient advocate. So
So if they
really, but just
hired you back, you would go? If they called you,
definitely, because yeah,
okay.
but justice, I believe justice should also be served, and a part of that is if I'm the patient advocate, at least you should give me a listening ear if I have a concern in my patient. And this was also a situation before. I have a concern in my patient, but yet still you never give me an ear, and you
Mhm.
you fired me before I even get to talk.
Now, before we run out of time, so do you work at were you working at two hospitals
No,
when
I
this
was just
happened or just
devoted
one?
to Good Sam. I was just
You were at
devoted to
Good
Good
Sam.
Sam.
And Good Sam's the one that fired you.
Definitely.
Yes. Okay, because I have to know who to yell at. I'm going to
But
give them a real hard time. Trust me. I am.
it's a tough one when I look at it. You see, if I was fired for being that person who constantly call out, does not support the hospital, does not support my unit, the moment they call, Ian, can you come in? I'm dropping everything and I'm there.
He fired
It,
the wrong person because I'm going to give you such support. And you know that I always keep my word, because our souls actually touched in the hospital. We knew each other as if we knew each other our whole lives.
and that is so
Sometimes that
true.
happens, right? And I'm going to be your advocate. And I'm telling you, there's going to be letters and phone calls made, and you're going to get your job back, or their name's going to get in the newspaper, because this is totally wrong. Totally wrong. Because I know you. I know you.
Yeah. But
So,
the funny thing, Mimi,
mm,
just before I was fired, they have like, I guess this pop up where she would have come in the room and listened to me as I take reports we were giving report on and off. And,
Mhm.
funny, she's like, yeah, and you guys did so well, like you aced it, just to say, there was not an error even between transitioning from one nurse to another. When I
Mhm.
go in, I'm like, I cannot believe this is the same person. I'm like, really? You just told me to take the
You
sick
did
day.
such a
I
great
call
job.
you. I call my manager. I call you, the director, and you told me to
She
take the day.
knows
And
that.
now here you are using the same thing to fire me. I'm like, what happened? Oh, you were sick. That's what she said. You were sick, but you at least tell me that it's gonna cost you your job.
It's all
I
about the
asked, I
money.
asked her right in HR.
It's all
I asked
about
her
the
in
money.
HR.
I guarantee you this was a budget cut. It wasn't you. And she really picked the wrong person to mess around with, because people that know me know that if I have a cause, I go after it. And you're my cause this month of July. I'm gonna work it out.
Can I
All July,
can,
trust me.
can I say something, Mimi?
Yes. Yes.
Just the fact that you said it's the money, I could feel it. The connection we have. I can feel it that you're right about this. I knew something else was behind it, but now that you're saying it, I probably need to show you my pay stub for the last couple of months. So, but I just feel, when you feel a connection, an energy,
Yes.
I actually
Yes.
feel that this is why I was targeted.
I know, and I validated your feeling because I
And
have
I
the same feeling.
I could bring you another nurse, which I know she would be ready to stand up. She's gonna be just where I am, that got fired just before me.
Well, have her get in touch with me. I'll do a podcast with her too. We can make this into a little series until we straighten this out and find out what's going on, because there's a lot of things going on in hospitals that are just not right. And the staff isn't treated right. And if the staff isn't treated right, then how are you gonna treat the patients right? You know what I mean? And you know what? We used up all our time. So I'm glad that you came, and I'm glad you're a fast talker because we got a lot in. And
I think I gave you a long introduction how I got into nursing, but it was basically ordained, I think, for me
no,
to
it
become
was it
a
was
nurse.
enjoyable. And there's a lot of things about your life that you told me when I was there. And we could do another podcast about a lot of things, the whole thing with your wife, how you met, and a lot of things there. So we might be doing another one. But the month of July, you are my project. You're going to see your name all over the internet, and trust me, we're going to get something done. Thanks for coming. Thanks for telling us all this. I hope you feel better just getting it released out into the world and talking about it. All right.
Well,
And later,
thank you.
yeah, I'll send you the
This is
link.
a,
What are
good.
you going
This
to?
is the first time I've openly talk about it, because really I was trying to process it. I'm like, three
Yeah,
kids, a wife, all this going on.
I
I'm like,
know.
how could somebody really be a human and do this?
I know. Well, I'm going to send you the links. Thanks for coming. And everybody, when when I send those things out, the information, I'm going to send you where to write a letter to and complain. Let's get something done. Thanks again, Ian. I hope I see you again, but not in the hospital. All
Uh,
right, bye.
Thank you very much for having me, and I